Just for those who might not understand, you can see that this is a rough cut board. I don't have a straight edge on either side, so what I've done is sort of measured the average and snapped a line down the middle. I'm going to freehand a cut right down that chalk line. One thing I had to consider is you can't see it because the saw is sitting on it right now. There's a crack that runs in about a foot. All right, enough talking. This thing keeps shutting itself down. I'm just gonna cut, and if I get any of it on tape, if I get any of it recorded.
Please stand by. We are experiencing technical difficulties. As soon as they have been corrected, we shall return to our scheduled program.
Ooh, I should have seen that coming. If I had noted this, I would have known exactly what would happen here. This board is pretty much frozen, which didn't help matters. I got lucky though. And this is going to be mostly waste. I'm not even going to use this full width, but it's kind of funny that just I got to about here with the saw and it just went pop. But anyhow, that's our first cut on that. Come on. That's our first cut on that. I think I'm going to run it through the thickness planer before I cut any more, just in case planing it down reveals any more weirdness that I need to avoid on one side or the other. Then I got to rip that down and do the same. Or should I rip the other one first? Yeah, may as well do it operation by operation, huh? One more pass on this one. Alrighty then, it's Monday morning. I spent about half of yesterday after getting here removing the rest of the teak'n'ply from the starboard side of the deck. Not all of it, not around the cockpit tub just yet. I had to cut around the hatch, the aluminum lazarette hatch to get it out. Some of those bolts, I gotta spray that with pea blaster today. Some of those aluminum, I think they're aluminum bolts, the screws, they just do not want to come out. Which is fine, they don't have to come out, they're going back where they were. But I would like to get them out so I don't accidentally bend them. I gotta put that thing away somewhere today. Anyway, enough about that. So far, other than what I already knew about from looking from below, I'm not seeing any more rots. I did find plenty of water damage and or still wet plywood, however. And the teak, as suspected, very, very thin throughout. This, from below, you can imagine with me squeezed in here and pretty much feeling blind, I suspected we had a problem here, but it is very deep. This whole beam, which goes all the way across, will probably have to be replaced. I'm going to try to avoid sistering and stuff like that. It's just too important that it be strong. I was very concerned that I would have rot on the plywood, the aft face of the cockpit tub, but I really should have a light there. You probably can't see that. Anyway, that's okay. I don't know what I'm going to do about the tub yet. I don't think I'm going to pull it out. I thought about that for a hot minute, but I don't think I want to do that. I may just repair it with the materials it's already made with, ply and fiberglass and all that good stuff, and lots and lots and lots of epoxy. The plywood was nailed down with these very nice ribbed nails. They're not screws. They look like screws, but they're not. So they can't be turned out. I'm pretty sure they're stainless. They might be, no, they gotta be stainless. They're too hard to be aluminum. What I've had to do to try to pull them out, well, these, it's pretty obvious what the problem is pulling this one out. Clearly the deck was done before this. So I'm not pulling these off. I don't have to. Yeah, the problem when you try to pull these out, you end up leaving a giant hole in this lovely white oak. So what I've been doing is just kind of twisting the heads off them, sort of cutting them. Are you still recording? and or cutting them. Those I'll probably get the metal blade on the oscillator and cut them off, and then just driving them in. I'll just have to be careful not to try to put a new fastener where they are. They won't create iron sickness or anything like that because they're stainless. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to get a look at how this boat is put together. I did throw a socket on just about every nut I could see here, and managed to tighten up a few of them a little bit. Looks like these are the bolts that hold the rub rail in place. Got a few more turns out of those without going crazy. I don't want to risk any harm, but none of them just broke off, so I'm not worried that I don't think I have bronze fasteners that are like totally done. Yeah, pretty cool structure, in good shape. There was a little bit of moisture in the plywood up here and a little bit on here, but nothing significant. We got a I don't know if it's a breast hook, if it's in the back of the boat. Is it a breast hook? Serves the same purpose, basically holds the point together. But all this is in great shape. No worries. I already knew everything down there was good. I got to clear that out today so I have more room. Anyway, I didn't record the process just because I was on a roll, you know what I mean? I had some momentum. I hate having to stop and swap batteries or deal with this thing. The other day when I was doing planking work on the hull, I noticed I lost like an hour of footage because the camera just decided I'm going to tell him I'm recording, but I'm not. Getting tired of that. But I have this whole side here. I wanted to develop techniques for the different areas, and I'll show you as I do this this port side. But first I got to make some room. I got to move everything to the other side, I guess. One more thing about the starboard side. I had talked about installing a bigger drain than this. This is because of this beam. There's really no room for a bigger one unless I want to move this beam over, which would be inadvisable, or cut into it partially, you know, maybe to accommodate a bigger drain cup. But I don't think I'm going to do that either. There's no need to take away from this boat. What I may do is, it was like way up in there with the flange buried under the trim. I may move it inboard a little bit and then create a trim piece that has a slope to it. Basically a triangular block that slopes down to it. I may even delete this altogether and do a big chunky sort of filler corner piece that presents a flat face here, so there's no crevices to collect dirt, ice, leaves, wet stuff, etc. But that's not a major concern right now. As long as the boat's covered up, as long as the aft deck is covered up, I don't have to worry too much about getting the drainage happening again anytime soon. We got a lot more to do here. Anyway, it's a long, laborious process digging these out, but it's kind of the only way, the best way to do it. I think I'm going to dig them out anymore. It's a bit of a process digging them out, but I started trying to, like, you know, just cut. Well, I'll just cut this chunk where I'm free to do so, and then I'll come back and dig these out. But I realized I was adding another step. As far as the teak goes, it just makes more sense to try to get at the screws. Some of them are good enough that I can reuse them elsewhere. Get at the screws, pull them out, pry this off because it's coming up without any fight whatsoever, and then cut up the plywood willy-nilly and deal with those stainless nails. That approach worked pretty well by the time I was done with the starboard side, so I'm going to continue that way here. Now here's what I'm up against here. Like this one, there isn't even really a bung, it's just a mess of epoxy. Oh, there it is. And this looked fine. I mean, before I touched it, it looked perfectly okay to me. It's not. And sort of conversely, you can see how deep down I had to go to get at this one. This is a drag, doing it with the chisel. Any chisel I use for this is getting trashed pretty quickly. I can't be stopping every 20 minutes to resharpen it, and if it's dull, it won't chisel very well, will it? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up to the frames. I'm going to cut through the ply and the teak, and then try to get the teak to split around each screw, just so I can try to get most of this, if not all of it, done today. That'd be nice. Slow going. There are places where it's kind of a shame because I've got original fasteners in good condition that haven't been reset. The teak isn't that thin. The plywood underneath is in good shape, but there's no way I'm going to do a half measure kind of thing, new against old, and I don't want to continue with plywood as my substrate. It worked okay here. I'm sure I'm going to find more and more happy plywood on this side until I get down there, but it's got to go. I want a plank deck. I've made up my mind. That's the way it's going to be. It's my boat, so there. Yeah. Well, that was good, but I didn't want it to go down there. We're going to have to do a major cleanup of this build. Did a little preliminary last night, but I'm going to have to get the crevice. I think I got to bring my bigger vacuum, get the crevice tool, and get way down in there. But it's out of the weather right now, so it's okay. Yeah, that's some happy teak. This is any easier. It isn't really. I'm gonna make another cut on it. There and there and there. Another reason I did one side first is it reveals. I mean, I'm still reaching and stuff to make sure I don't cut into the framework, but I can see or even take a measurement based on the starboard side. I'm not wasting time with that chipping away epoxy. Did enough of that with the hull. Okay. Yeah, sure, why not? Jeez. That one. This is what I've been dealing with. Not satisfactory, obviously. When I lay the new deck, I'm probably going to go fairly deep the first time with the plugs. Not too deep, of course, because at someday, as those plugs come loose or wear, the screws might have to be reset. But yeah, certainly not time to worry about that. When it's going to happen, I don't know. I haven't found lumber yet. Probably going to go with black locust, just because the quality for the price point. If I can find stuff that's clear enough, not just, you know, utility grade for fence posts and whatnot. It'll be a lot cheaper than teak and better than any cheap teak you can find in terms of tight grain, water and rot resistance, and what's the other thing? And durability, yeah. Wear characteristics, as they say. Now, someone may chime in that, oh, black locust is so heavy, you don't want to use it on a deck. It's, as far as I know, on average, 15% heavier, maybe. It's not like this boat's gonna go turtle if I put a black locust deck on, especially without the additional layer of plywood. Plywood is generally quite light, but not when it's full of moisture, it isn't. And even this, which is pretty dry, I'm sure it's got more moisture. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but the nice thing about having a seamed deck is that if those seams do start letting in water, it will not travel. It will pretty much drip out where the problem is. There's an old saying I heard recently about that. That said it's better to have a leak dripping on the captain's bunk than to have a leak that's going into some unknown pocket of rot. There's a lot to be said for that. When I was a full-time construction and remodeling and finish carpenter, I did a lot of roof repair works, and part of the job was finding the leak on the roof of the house or building, sealing it up, and then dealing with the damage inside. And it was startling to see how far a trickle of water could travel, and over years it could do a lot of damage. Sometimes it was almost impossible to trace the damage inside the house back to wherever the leak was up top. It was often just so far away you couldn't believe it. Like, really? 30 feet away, this flashing around the chimney, that's been the cause of this? So, whereas with a carvel plank deck, water drips inside somewhere, you go up top, you put some more stuff on it. Done. It'll just be more durable than this system in the long run, as long as I select the right wood. That's the key thing. This might split. Oh, I gotta cut this again. I got a beam there, so I gotta use the oscillator again. We're getting there. I'm working on this today, mostly because it's been raining steadily and will continue to do so until, I don't know, midnight maybe? But tomorrow's supposed to be sunny and just over 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to jump back down to the ground and continue with the plank business. Oh, look at that. Huh. Now that's the key with these covering boards, is to cut them between where the fasteners are, because in many places the fasteners wind up almost underneath the bulwark. Much easier to get this out and without damaging any of this. That is pretty wet there. A lot of moisture. I don't think there's rot, but yeah, that's wet. I don't know if it's wet because I took the trim off a couple days ago and it's been humid out. I don't know. But whatever. Do I want to? Yeah, I want to get rid of the rest of this plywood before I proceed. And I got beams, so I got to undercut it with this. stainless nail is almost completely on. It still put up a fight. Yeah, you can see. I don't know if the light's good enough. It looks like a screw, but it is not. It's a rib nail, which is perfect for this. My new deck is going to be screwed, though, I think, just so I have the option of pulling pieces out if I have to. Got nowhere to stand, nowhere to swing the hammer. There just ain't no place for me, 'cause I'm too right-handed to swing the hammer with my left hand without hurting myself. It's right there. Oh, I could cut the nail. Yeah, maybe. Pulled it. That plywood's pretty wet. Yeah, let me show you something real quick. This piece was notched, but it looks like I've got a little water damage there. I don't think I see active rot. And this is, it's actually beveled. It's cut back diagonally, almost in half. I think this is really more, which was done to promote draining, I'm guessing. This is just to support the end of the very corner of the deck. It's certainly not structural in any other sense. I don't know what this nail is about. I should try to pull it out. Oh, it's holding that to that for some reason. What is that? It looks like iron. Yeah, we got some some punky plywood behind this bit. Look at that. Uh-huh. Let me get this off and make sure the beam is okay. Damp, but no rot back there. Well, this is reinforced where they cut the hole for the scupper. There seems like there's a big old block inside there, but it's not rotten, I don't think. Look at this. No screw at all. There was at one time. There's a hole. Screw was removed, plug was put in.